I'm lost in next door.
Amazing.
What an app, man.
What an app indeed.
Somebody posted complaining because their neighbor keeps parking in front of their house.
Interesting.
Just in front of their house.
That seems pretty excessive.
It's not allowed, apparently.
Surprise, we're recording in the same location for the first time in over a year?
Yeah, it's been some time.
I think the last time we were physically in the same place for anything was the end of the Shadow streams last summer.
Oh, for the podcast things, not just in general in life.
Also that. But here we are. Oliver seems to be determined to cause trouble, so I have this bowl of cat toys that I might have to wind up throwing at various points throughout the episode, and he's trying to do it right now. Don't you dare.
There's also the bag rattling. If I catch him off guard with it, I think it does the job.
Stop.
Oh. Ooh, what's that sound?
Go get it. He's such an asshole. Anyway. I actually do have things planned for today, even though I've never wound up writing them down in the document because we're here in the same place and I felt no need to.
Okay.
The thing I want to start with is something that kind of came up while we were watching Oliver Stop It. A thing that kind of came up when we were watching Clue last night. What movies do you think were the most fun to film, to be on set for? What would you have liked to join in on?
Oh man. I feel like that's so true of most, of the best comedic films.
You're so right. Clue, obviously that sounds like a blast, although it is so depressing when I remember that apparently he just yanked out our lights.
But out the camera, right? So.
No. So I think we're good.
Maybe that's the downside of startling them with the bag.
No, we're still going.
Ah.
Come on.
Hey. You knock it off, kid.
And he moved the camera. Amazing.
Oh my goodness.
You are such a problem. I will lock you in the bedroom if I have to. Yeah, okay. You're getting locked.
That was like slow motion.
This is the face of a criminal. Say hello to it, because he's gone.
I like how he so slowly and carefully started to bite toward the ground.
And maybe locking him in the bedroom is a terrible idea because there's things in there that he could get into. But marginally less of a problem.
As long as he's not chewing electrical cords that could electrocute him.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
probably
gonna
better
say
off.
that it's fine.
Yeah.
He might start screaming, we'll find out. But no, what movies would we like to have been on set for?
Right. Oh man, I always have trouble generating them. When I sit down and think, the first things I always think about are my favorite movies, like any Monty Python movie.
Oh, absolutely, that would. Here's the thing I hate knowing. I hate knowing that it kind of sucks to film the Rocky Horror Picture Show because they were in this old castle with no heat in the middle of winter, having to get thrown into a pool. And I want the filming of that to be so much fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I was kind of in that situation, I'd try to have a little fun with it, but it kind of sounds like it might have sucked a little bit, which is really disappointing because what an iconic piece of cinema.
Okay, Laszlo. Yeah, and that's why it's sort of risky, I guess, to know the story behind things,
Yeah.
Because it could be oh yeah, they're all actually best friends and they had the best time, and it's that makes me enjoy it more.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be no, they all hated each other or they were miserable and you're oh.
You know what I think would have been absolutely delightful to film just because I know that it was all the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Because they filmed every single one of them back to back over the course of 3 years or something. I feel like that would have just been so great to just go shack up in New Zealand for however long that it took to film. As an actor, especially if you're maybe someone who's what's his face? Sean Astin?
Yes.
Who's perhaps not A-list, shall we say. Love Sean Astin. But if you're someone like that who maybe isn't A-list, you just got paid for however many years.
Yeah?
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I doubt that Goonies money held out.
Which is so tragic, but but yeah, just like anywhere like where like you get to sit down and do something forever with like a bunch of people that you're like gonna wind up really close to because of the circumstances. It's like, oh man, that sounds like it would have been a great time.
Yeah, they're like besties still.
I know.
It'd be like a really long adult summer camp.
Like that is, and I'm probably so wrong. Like I'm probably just romanticizing the notion of like being on set for something, but like, God, doesn't it sound fun?
It does. I mean, especially in a place like New Zealand.
Oh my God, I know. Adult summer camp. I feel like that's such a good way to describe it. God, I wish that were me. Why isn't there adult summer camp? I would pay good money for that experience.
There was some, I can't remember what it was called, some program that had popped up on a random online ad for me where it basically is an adult summer camp and you go and there's like obstacle courses and stuff. Yeah. And I looked into it. It's kind of pricey, but I was like, that could be cool. But it's a thing, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it exists.
Amazing. Incredible. I am going to be filing that away for later research.
Yep, dig into.
But yes, I would love to have been involved in the filming of The Lord of the Rings. That sounds like it was a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of like campy horror movies would be fun too.
Oh God, yeah, like some super like low budget like buckets of blood horror movie, or like some maybe like a found footage.
Yeah.
I think that would be really fun because you're kind of more intimately involved in the actual like filming process of it, or at least that would be more fun for me, especially because I have my own janky little setup. Can you hear him screaming?
Scream.
But I have my own I have my own janky little setup that might lend itself well to the kind of found footage horror film, so I could also contribute in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about even like, we watched The Blob for the stream
Oh my God,
last year.
that seems like it would have been a good time.
Yeah, that would have been so fun. It's like trying to pretend to be scared, especially if you were doing something like that these days, because it would probably just be like a dude wearing spandex with tennis balls on it, you know, kind of thing, but pretending to be scared of it.
Although I don't know about the dude wearing tennis balls for like a smaller budget like indie horror film.
Oh,
like
yeah,
there
yeah.
seems to be a kind of pride taken in those circles in like we're doing everything that we can with practicals, like, or everything possible that we can with like practical effects before we start like adding things in digitally. Like even that, what did Zach and I watch that one time? That Rubber.
That's what I was waiting to say, was Rubber.
About like a tire. That
I know.
was super low budget, but like they tried to do everything they could, have it actually be on camera instead of just edited in afterwards.
The second you said indie films, I was like, Rubber. Wouldn't that have been so fun to do?
Oh my God, I know. Yes, that sounds like a great time.
Ugh, I love that movie.
I genuinely might rewatch that because it was a surprisingly good time.
Yeah, I do really want to rewatch it.
There's a lot of ridiculous movies where I just think that like you had to have been having such a blast.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think the sillier it is, the more fun it probably would have been to film.
Which is why it seems like, again, Clue. Huh.
Yeah.
I just want to run around. I would love to run around a mansion like that as part of a film.
I mean, literally run. There's a lot of running in that movie.
Love that movie so much. And I've said before on the podcast that I think Clue would lend itself fantastically to being adapted into a musical, but I don't have songwriting talent, so someone else is going to have to take over on that.
Oh, I was just thinking about adapting it into a Muppets movie. Probably because we watched Muppet
Treasure Island. Any Muppet movie.
That's
sounds
that's
like
the
a
lead in.
blast.
Would you prefer to be like the human, or work in one of the puppets?
Oh man, I feel like there's such potential for both.
Yeah.
Is the problem. Because, like, the puppet thing seems like so much fun, but then also being the person to interact with the puppets.
Playing it straight.
And that's the thing, would you play it straight, or would you, like, because, like, we were talking about this.
Yeah.
I think for your performance to work in a Muppet movie, you either have to essentially be a Muppet yourself, Tim Curry in Muppet Treasure Island, or you have to play it completely straight, like Michael Caine in Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which would you go with?
Man, I honestly don't know. I just changed my mind like twice in those few seconds.
I'm doing the exact same thing right now.
Because, like, I could imagine doing, like, the Michael Caine thing being really fun because you're just like, this is so serious, and so it's going to be hilarious, you know?
Yeah.
But it could also just be so fun to be ridiculous, like, Tim Curry, the way he does his like laugh and
Oh my god,
when
I
he
love
throws
Muppet
his
Treasure
head back
Island.
and goes, you know,
I
like
love
that.
Tim Curry so much. Muppet Treasure Island is like one of his better performances in my personal opinion.
No, I love that movie.
It's so hard to decide though.
Yeah, honestly.
Because I think like leaning in on the ridiculous would again just be so fun and so freeing. But like Muppet Christmas Carol would not be what it is if Sir Michael Caine hadn't said, I am going to play this like I am with the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Yes.
It's such a tough choice.
Yeah.
I guess it would depend on what I was doing. Like what I was perhaps the one human in. Like if it was like like if it's like a Muppet, I mean they're all kind of musicals, but if it's like kind of like a classic literature adaptation like Muppet Christmas Carol, I might try and go like play it completely straight like that. But if this is like a Muppet Treasure Island, Muppets Take Manhattan, I just get real goofy with it.
Muppet Treasure Island is technically based on a classic book.
You're right. You're so right.
I think it's maybe dependent on the character, because like Ebenezer Scrooge has to be like a serious character, you know, otherwise his Scrooginess doesn't come across. Versus if you're playing Long John Silver,
you can definitely get jiggy with
it. You can really ham it up.
I want Muppet, again, this would have to be more than a movie, this would have to be a series. I want Muppet War and Peace so bad, and I want Pierre Bezukhov to be the only human.
We don't really get those like Muppet adaptations these days.
And we were talking about how it would probably suck these days.
Yeah.
Because they would...
So many good jokes.
They would like try to make it more... One of my friends, Lily, is like a massive Muppet nerd, and there was apparently like one of the reasons that Kermit has a new voice actor, because like Kermit was originally voiced by Jim Henson himself, but then Jim Henson passed away, and I can't remember the name of the guy who took over for Kermit, but he is no longer Kermit's voice actor, because apparently there was some dispute when like Disney bought up the Muppets or whatever, and they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna like make this really squeaky clean and kid friendly, and the guy who originally voiced Kermit was like, no, like that's not what the vision was when Jim Henson was still alive.
No.
And they fired him for it.
I mean, Disney ruins everything.
Disney does ruin everything. So, there's that.
Yeah.
Like, I want a Muppet War and Peace, but like only, like, I want it to have been made in like the 80s.
Yeah. An edgy Muppet.
Essentially, yeah. Like with the energy of the original Muppets, not the like the original Muppets and the original Muppet Show, not the kind of sanitized version that has been presented for small children.
I think 80s era Muppets were probably like peak Muppets.
I would agree.
Because that's when you get your, you know, Muppets Take Manhattan and that sort of thing.
And we were looking through all the episodes of the original Muppet Show. The people that they had.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Like Liza Minnelli, Gene Kelly himself, Julie Andrews. Like that's how my sister and I were introduced to Elton John, was watching the second season of The Muppet Show on DVD.
Yeah.
Absolutely iconic. I love The Muppets so much.
Yeah, which in a way, like, is something that made it appealing not just to kids, but like adults as well, like...
Not to get too deep, I absolutely hate the idea that like this thing where like family entertainment has become like kid entertainment that the parents tolerate.
Yeah.
Because like even like particularly like really old Disney movies like Snow White, like that is like, it's not like, oh, there's a couple jokes thrown in for the adults. Like the whole thing is played completely straight because like the notion of kids media was much, much narrower.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and let him out and see if he's learned his lesson. The answer is
He
probably
is
no.
screaming in there.
You're me.
Are you gonna be good?
No, he's probably not gonna be good, but
Okay.
we'll see what
Give
happens.
it a shot. You sound too pathetic in there.
Mother, where are you? Why have you... Hi. Don't you fucking dare.
Hi, buddy. Why don't you just come join us?
Yeah, that would be better.
Where the cords are not. Go get the fun ball.
Help me. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I hate the sanitization of media for children.
Yeah.
It's annoying, and I don't know why I care so much because I don't like kids and I'm never having kids, but like, there's so much media that was targeted for perhaps younger audiences and families from previous years that is so good still.
Yeah.
Because it was marketed to a broader audience instead of just like, this is for 5-year-olds.
Yeah, and like, even in Treasure Island, there's that bit where they're like, you know, he's dead, and this is supposed to be a kids' movie. You know, like
Exactly.
they point it out. Which, you know, that's one of those things where, you know, at that point in time, they could recognize like, oh yeah, maybe we wouldn't put someone dying in a kids' movie, but we're gonna do it anyway because that's you know what's supposed to happen in this. But I don't even think they would do that today.
No, probably.
You know, it's like, oh no, we can't. I mean, not that they don't kill off characters in modern like kids media, like, you know, that's why so many people are scarred by the movie Up or Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't count as a spoiler because in both cases it's at the very beginning. It's like the first thing in the movie. So it's, you know, not unusual, but I don't know, it feels different.
Yeah, that's like really kind of the only way to describe it, is that it feels different, like that the vibe is different.
Yeah, I think in each of those cases in modern movies where a character has been killed, like, it's a big focus of the thing, and they're showing all the feelings and how upset everybody is.
Which, like, is good.
Yes. But I think that's the way that it's different, is that before it was just like, hey, a person died, let's move on.
Yeah, they kind of aren't.
It's just another piece of the
and
story.
And it's not that there's no deaths in, like, for example, older Disney movies that have, like, a shit ton of weight to them, like Bambi, for example. Like, that is a pivotal moment with a lot of emotions attached to it. And The Lion King.
That scarred me.
But also, there are more kind of quote-unquote throwaway deaths in older media that is targeted at children/families, I think.
Yeah, it definitely, you know, especially growing up, watching a lot of the movies that I did that came out in, like, the 80s. Looking at them now, it's like, man, those were kind of messed up. And they were supposed to be for
What the hell is it called? Return to Oz?
I
watched that for the first time at 24 years old, and I absolutely loved every second of it. Just because, like, again, I love practical effects so much. And just knowing that, like, so much effort was put in and all these things were physically in front of the camera made me so happy. If I, like, was going to go into film and I, like, wasn't allowed, quote-unquote, to be the, like, behind-the-camera or editing type person, I would want to be in the effects department. It just seems like such a blast.
Yeah.
And that actually makes me think of another movie that was probably really fun to be on the set of or on the effects team of. The first Hellraiser.
Oh, yeah.
I would have loved to be on like effects or like hair and makeup for that. That sounds like such a good time.
Every time I hear Hellraiser, all I can think is Jesus whooped. It's just in my head now. Those are forever linked.
You know, as it should be. I feel like there's a better segue than anything that my brain is coming up with right now between these topics and the one that I'm about to bring up, because it has to do with the past.
I don't know what it is to assist with that, so...
So
you didn't write it down?
Yeah, I didn't write it down. I think I might have sent this to I've sent this to one or two of the group chats that I'm involved in, and I can't remember if it was the one that we have on Twitter, but I will link the tweet that this is from. It is a screenshot of a TikTok, and it's like, you wake up and you're 5 years old again, and you have retained all of your knowledge, which, like, again, world's most depressed 5-year-old.
Yeah.
We're having that choice taken away from us, so now it is just, what would you do in that scenario? Like, what's the first thing you do?
Interesting.
And my answer is immediately that I have to find some non-threatening way to convince my parents of my sudden, like, advanced sentience, so I can let them know that I am severely mentally ill and will need to be heavily medicated. And then I would tell them to invest in Apple.
Yeah. See, I feel like that would be a really hard thing to do, like,
that would be a very hard
parents,
sell.
You know? And so my first thought is, who is somebody who is more likely to believe me than my parents? You know, like, who's the local weirdo?
I don't even know if I have a local weirdo.
Well, there's gotta be like some sort of shop you can go to, you know? Like a local magic shop.
So what kind of town did you grow up in?
Some places have those. I don't have one, but some places do. Or where would the weirdos hang out? Maybe like a comic book shop. I feel like there'd be people there who would be more likely to believe, you know?
You make some solid points.
But then as a 5-year-old, how are you getting there?
That's my thing.
Is the only other part, yeah. But I would try to think, like, who is more likely to believe me because there's no way I'm getting... But would they be convinced? Because you would be a very eloquent 5-year-old.
Yeah, maybe the overnight change.
Yeah.
If my, like, current consciousness is suddenly sent back in time.
Yeah. Like, let me do some complex mathematical equations for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually, yeah, that's probably as, like, I would attempt to break the news as, like, non-threateningly as possible. And just be like, listen, this is going to sound incredibly, like, you know, this is gonna sound weird. And sort of lay my cards on the table, because, like, what do I have to lose?
Yeah, I mean, for me, this would mean going back to 1990. And the world was a very different place.
Yeah, this would be me going back to...
2003?
2003, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like, you know, that was pretty much pre-internet world. And I feel like people were much more narrow-minded.
Yeah, so maybe I wouldn't be as screwed in this hypothetical.
So I'm trying to imagine going back to 1990 and being like, yo, rents. Because my parents were still together in 1990.
Oh god, yeah, that's even more complicated for you.
Yeah. Oh, and I have all this knowledge of the future. Be like, so you guys are gonna get divorced in like a couple of years. Yeah, it would be hard to keep your future knowledge to yourself.
Some of it yes, some of it no, because they'd be like, oh, what are all these world events in like 2 years? And I don't know. Because, like, from where I'm standing right now, that was 2005.
Yeah.
I don't remember much of that shit.
I guess that's true. I was like, I remember what happened in 2005. Oh, because I wasn't like 7.
Yeah, because you weren't like 7.
I was in college.
So, like, I think, yeah, maybe some of my kind of future knowledge would be hard to keep to myself, but so much of it just pertains to my own experience as a human being, rather than just, like, the exact dates of big world events and, like, things in other people's personal lives that haven't directly involved me in some way, shape, or form.
But it's also like, you know, the butterfly effect kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think in these kinds of hypotheticals, when you try to talk about things like that, like, you can get so bogged down with that to the point where it's not even fun to discuss anymore, so I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah, because even things like telling your parents to invest in Apple, right? So if they buy certain shares, that means whoever originally would have bought the shares didn't get to buy them, and then, you know, ripple effects.
Yeah. So I'm trying not to think about that too much.
Yeah, so I honestly don't, but, like, that would be a thing that I would probably be paralyzed by, is, like, being afraid of anything, you know, changing things. I honestly don't know what I would do.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think my, like, main concern, if my, like, current consciousness that has, like, gone through multiple years of therapy and steadily increasing doses of Zoloft, like, my first concern is to, like, maintain that standard. Because I had, like, one weekend in college where the pharmacy screwed up and I didn't get my prescription refilled. And it sucked. Like, even just stopping cold turkey for, like, 3 days was awful. I hated it. So, that's first order of business.
I think the first thing I would think is, all right, how do I undo this? Right? Like, how do I get back? But again, there's no internet, so, like, what do you even do? I don't know. That would be my first thought. It's like, I cannot be a 5-year-old with this level of knowledge and be, like, bossed around by my parents, and, you know.
Although again,
like,
would you be bossed around if you convinced them of your like, advanced sentience? Perhaps not.
I don't know. I mean, either you don't convince them and they just, like, try to commit you to an institution.
Fine.
Or you do convince them and they're probably still going to try to figure out, like, how to fix you or something.
Perhaps.
But even if they believe you, society is still going to see you as a 5-year-old, which carries with it certain expectations of how your parents treat you, like in public and stuff.
I would start guitar lessons.
Hmm.
So that I would no longer have to deal with what I currently feel, which is the, like, inherent shame of being a beginner at age whatever.
Yeah, if we're thinking about, like, things you would learn if you got to go back, languages.
Yeah, languages,
Your
guitar.
mind is so much better, you know.
Fuck it. You know what I've always wanted to learn? One of my biggest regrets in life, it's not even that big of a regret. God, I wish I could do this. I wish this had been something I had done as a kid and had continued with. I want to fucking tap dance.
I was a tap dancer.
I wish I had, like, started dance as a child and had continued with it because holy shit. Love it.
I forget what happened to all my little tap dancing participation trophies.
That's so cute. Yeah, no. Those are gonna be some of my first orders of business. Guitar, continue with all the languages that I am now trying to learn / have made decent progress with my, like, new, more elastic 5-year-old brain.
Mm-hmm.
And start tap lessons.
I have some great pictures of me in my tap outfits, but
That's so cute.
Giant pink bow on my head in one of them. It's, like, massive.
That is adorable.
Yeah, stuff like gymnastics. Like when you're a kid and you're not as afraid to hurt yourself, and you can then make your joints more flexible for when you're older too.
Oh, you know what I would do? When I was a kid, this is like, I feel like this is indicative of the person I became and am now, like, working very hard to not be in some instances. When I was a kid, my mom tried to sign me up for Irish step dancing lessons because, duh. And she took me to the studio to sign me up. I was like 5, 6, and I saw a bunch of older girls there, like, you know, practicing a nearly completed routine or whatever. She signed me up. I went home and sobbed because I would never be as good as them, and then I never took one lesson. So I would not do that.
Yeah. It'd be kind of nice to, I mean, I wouldn't want to go through school and everything again, just in general, because I'm like, this is all stuff I know, this is boring. But it would also be kind of nice to be able to do those things over with, like, the knowledge of an adult, where I would just not give a shit about what anybody thought of me, or, you know.
Breeze through so many things in my life.
Yeah, just, like, you know, things that I thought were so important,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, now I'm like, yeah, that this stuff didn't matter at all.
Some things I could avoid.
Yeah, could have just avoided so much, like, anxiety and shame.
Actually get to be, like, a goth middle schooler like I wanted to be.
Yeah, do things ever the way you wanted to do them.
So, like, not that it would be good,
No.
but you could do good things with it.
Yes.
If this is, like,
yes.
the sort of film that your life has been assigned to play out in this hypothetical.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, it's not so much the age, it's also having to go back to that time period. Which is good and bad at the same time. Because, like, no more smartphones. No more internet at all. I think we got our first family computer in, like, 2003.
That would both drive me crazy and not, because on the one hand, freedom, but on the other hand, oh my god, you carry a tiny computer around in your pocket and have the entire collected knowledge of humanity at your fingertips. I don't know if I could go back.
That's why I lived at the library, because that was the closest thing there was to, you know,
Yeah.
that's where
I
most of the
really don't
information
know if I
is.
could go back. And, like,
No.
maybe that does make me sound like I'm addicted to my phone, which I probably am, but, like, it is amazing. Like, I don't know why I was looking back at this message the other night, but I was looking at my messages, and I, like, had this moment where I was just, like, almost, like, moved to tears by the beauty of, like, Wikipedia, just thinking about the fact that, like, I have the privilege of being able to stumble across knowledge that some of the most studied scholars wouldn't have been able to access, depending on, like, where they were, like, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild.
Not even 100 years ago.
Yeah, not
you
even
know?
100 years ago. Like, I wound up, like, reading the Wikipedia page overview for, like, I think it was like Eritrean cuisine.
Oh.
I don't know how I wound up there, but I was
it.
like, I have just randomly happened across knowledge that would have been inaccessible to me, what, 50 years ago?
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, the internet was kind of a mistake, but also...
Well, I mean, I think in the earliest days before it got the corporations' hands on it, like, in the early days, it was about research.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it had good intent, and then as soon as they open it up to businesses, that's where the...
Capitalism is the root of all evil.
Yes.
Anyway, but yeah, I was like, 50 years ago, I might not have even known that this is a country that existed.
No, probably not.
And now I can just be like, what's the food like there?
Yeah.
And the internet will tell me.
And you can even meet somebody who lives there on the internet.
Fucking wild, bro!
And be like, what's your favorite recipe? And then you could make it.
Yeah, not to be lame or whatever, but man, knowledge is truly beautiful.
It really is. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right, is that imagining going back to a world where that is not possible.
It kind of sounds like it would suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, not that there are no advantages to being a little more unplugged, and frankly, I think we all could stand to be a little more unplugged in our day-to-day lives, but also, holy shit, you can know anything you want to. How cool is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't miss the old days of, like, going to the library and picking through the card catalog.
Yeah, like, now I can just, like, I can know anything that I want to know in 0.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm constantly Googling just random things, and my family makes fun of me for it, because every time they mention a thing, I'm like, hold on.
No, me, oh my god. Like, I'm such a, like, repository of just random trivia.
Mm-hmm.
And I also get made fun of for it all the time.
It can be like the slightest thing. I'm like, well, now I'm going to go down a rabbit hole and learn all about this, whatever it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It can even be something as simple as somebody using, like, a cliche phrase, and I'm like, where did that phrase come from?
Right? No, literally. Wikipedia is amazing.
Which, if you wanted to know something like that in the pre-internet days, there's not really a way to do that.
Yeah, you were kind of screwed.
Because it's not like you can go to the card catalog and look up whatever the phrase is. Or, you know?
Yeah, like, you could, like, look up a country.
Yeah.
But, like, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is wild
like,
to me.
Third time's the charm. Where does that come from?
You can find out.
Yeah, easily Google that. You're not going to find a book that explains that.
God, again, like, things right now are kind of awful, but also, God, what a time to be alive.
Yeah, it's always a mixed bag.
Isn't it, though? I really should have timed exactly when we started doing this.
Yeah, I was wondering. I feel like it was around 6:30.
It was about 6:30. The plan was to start at 6:30 to begin with, because we're going to be streaming after this anyway. But...
Because I remember sitting here looking at the time and thinking it's 6:22, and then you were doing a thing, and so we hadn't started yet, so I feel like that's...
We're just going to keep winging it. You know, I feel like I also had something saved that I was going to have us talk about. It might have been that thing where you said that we should just do, like, an Am I the Asshole? And take a page out of the book of Two Hot Takes, a podcast that I would very much like to collaborate with at some point in the future, but we're attempting to get there. And I think, and maybe past me has screwed over future me, maybe she hasn't, I might have saved something for discussion. But let's find out. Nope. I have once again been screwed over by past me, but that's fine. Let me see if I can find anything worth discussing just by opening random apps.
Again, the beauty of the internet.
The beauty of the internet. Truly.
I feel like there are a lot of those stupid arguments on Nextdoor that would make...
Oh, I'm sure Nextdoor is an absolute gold mine.
It's such a train wreck. It's like, it's so stupid, and everything on it is so petty, and I can't look away. And I will sit there and read like 150 comments about somebody being upset that somebody else is like throwing their dog crap in their garbage can. that was that's actually
Oh,
been a
I'm
few
sure it
things
was.
recently.
I hate homeowners associations. I am not involved in a homeowners association. I probably never will be because of this economy. But, like, the notion of the homeowners association is some of the dumbest bullshit I have ever heard in my life. What do you mean I buy a house with my money and am paying my mortgage on it only for some dickhead who lives down the street and wants everybody to look the same to tell me that I can't put my 12-foot Home Depot lawn skeleton up year-round? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I refuse to move anywhere that has a homeowners association.
No, that is, like, it could be the most perfect neighborhood. If it has a homeowners association, immediate no.
Yeah.
None of that.
Nobody needs that stress in their life trying to make sure they're, like, meeting the standards.
Absolutely not. There was a whole, like, John Oliver segment about homeowners associations. And the one thing that pissed me, and, like, it pissed me off in general, but one of the things that pissed me off so much was that they, like, fined an old man for sitting out on a park bench.
Yeah.
For what?
Because he put it in his front yard so he could just kind of hang out and while people pass by, you know, say hey to him, whatever. It's like,
why do you
really?
not want people in your neighborhood
That's
interacting
not okay.
with each other? Absolutely bizarre. Nope. Everything I have saved is ghost related. Massive shocker.
Yeah, that seems. I mean, I'm on the Am I the Asshole Reddit thread.
Is there anything fun? Is there anything really petty?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm just gonna pick one of the. Oh man.
Low stakes. We don't want to give out advice that can ruin
no.
anyone's life.
No, this is really petty to me.
Wonderful.
Alright, so am I the asshole for giving my future mother-in-law 3 days to pay me for a new wedding dress, or else I show the family a photo of her wearing it?
Okay, hold on. Send this to me. We need to discuss.
That's very... And there's updates. So...
I need it.
Yes, I'm getting there. Share.
I like how I just found a text from Kyle because I have my phone on Do Not Disturb for this, but it says, "What is the boy up to?" Attempting to ruin the podcast.
Don't provoke him, he's sleeping. Finally. Is it, sad that I don't know how to share this?
Do you have
I'm in the app and I hit share and yet I'm not seeing, like...
Does it give you an option to copy the link?
Yeah. Just text it to you?
Yeah, it'll work.
Okay.
Why am I surprised that you have the Reddit app on your phone?
I don't know. There we go.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Come on, do you think? Oh wow, lots of awards on this one too.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a judgment already.
Yeah.
But I will reveal that at the end. Am I the asshole for giving future mother-in-law 3 days to pay me for a new wedding dress, or else I show the family a photo of her wearing it? Okay. So, I'm getting married to my fiancé soon. I bought my wedding dress weeks ago. His
mother, I assume, is missing.
My future mother-in-law kept pestering me about trying it on, but I firmly refused. I finally shut it down after she offered me $100 to let her try it on. Her reason for persisting so much, she says, is because of her love for wedding dresses and her obsession with them. Fast forward to yesterday, I came home from work early and I found my fiancé at home. He freaked out after seeing me and tried to prevent me from going into my room while trying to text somebody on his phone. I opened the door and was shocked to see his mom standing there wearing my dress. I instantly pulled out my phone and took a photo of her in it. She and my fiancé freaked out after I told her that she needed to pay me for a new dress in 3 days or else I'll show the whole family the photo. She started crying and then left, and my fiancé blew up at me, saying that I can't be serious and that I overreacted because his mom just wanted to try the dress on, no harm done. But I refused to listen to him because, in my opinion, the dress should only be worn by the bride and the bride only. Quite frankly, I felt disgusted looking at the dress again. I don't want it anymore. And so I think it's fair that she pays me after she ruined it for me. He yelled at me and told me to wake up and stop treating his mom as if she was an enemy. We had a fight after he failed to get me to back down, and he's been staying with his mom since then. I feel awful, but I spent $3,000 on this dress and worked hard to get it. I can't stand looking at it, but people in my family think I'm escalating things and risking my relationship with not only my future mother-in-law, but my fiance as well. And then, am I the asshole? And then the update, wait, hold on, I want to make sure the update doesn't, like, quote-unquote spoil it.
Yeah.
Okay. My fiance called and offered to pay for the dress himself so we can, quote, end the conflict, but he wants me to hand him my phone so he can delete the photo himself, swear that I don't have any copies to use against his mom later, apologize to his mom. He asked that I quit his family group chat and log out of Facebook for at least a month. I haven't responded yet. Girl, throw the whole man out.
Yeah.
If he's this obsessed with, like, trying to please his mother instead of his wife,
He sounds like a mama's boy.
he sounds like a mama's boy in the worst way possible. Throw the whole man out.
Oh my god, there's so much going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Just...
And, like, this is a thing that I cannot even fathom, because I know almost for a fact if it eventually does come to this point that I am picking out a wedding dress, my mom is going to hate mine.
Oh, no doubt. That's a given. So let's set the update stuff aside for the moment.
Okay.
And just think about the question itself, right? Because there's too much to...
There's so much to unpack.
Yeah, so just the question itself, right? Because even at that, I feel like there's a lot going on. Like, is it weird that the future mother-in-law wanted to try it on?
I mean,
would they
yes.
have let her try it on? And do you agree with the poster, like, wanting a new dress? Like, there's so many different layers. You know?
I don't understand the wanting to try it on. I completely... Like, I do understand the being like, no, what the hell? Like, why are you so obsessed with this?
Yeah.
Like, the insistence is so weird. Especially, like, I will pay you.
Yeah.
That is super strange. I don't think they're wrong for not wanting their mother-in-law or their future mother-in-law to try on the dress.
Yeah.
They start to lose me a little with the, like, I never want to touch it again, like, and I need to buy a new one.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, if the future mother-in-law loves wedding dresses that much, go to a store somewhere and just try them on for funsies. Why does it have to be your future daughter-in-law's dress?
Yeah, go
right?
work in a bridal shop.
Yeah, but also, like, the entitlement to think, like, I get to put this on, you know? Like, that's, like, symbolic of the most important day of this girl's life.
Yeah, like,
you
it's
know?
not...
Like, it's not yours.
I wouldn't even do that with just, like...
I wouldn't touch it.
Someone's stuff in general. Like,
Yeah.
I, as a person, generally, like, don't really mind, like, yeah, sure, like, we're going to a party, or, like, we're going to a concert, you don't have a shirt that has the band on it or whatever,
Yeah.
borrow this, borrow my dress, borrow whatever, but, like...
With
it's
permission.
not yours.
With permission
Exactly.
is the thing.
Like, I don't care, but, and, like, again, just because I have such a different taste than so many of the people in my life who I would, like, have be involved in my wedding anyway, I could never even imagine this being a scenario that I would find myself in.
Yeah.
But, like, I get it, her being like, no, this is mine. Like,
Yeah.
this is my big thing. Like, I understand that.
And, you know, I can understand her reaction a little bit of, like, not wanting to wear the dress anymore.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, to me, like, imagine, I mean, she said she worked really hard to get the dress, so imagine, like, saving up the $3,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you worked so hard, who knows how many dresses she tried on,
Mm-hmm.
you know, before she found the one, and she's probably had it hanging there and looking at it and dreaming of the day getting to wear it, and now she has this image in her head of her mother-in-law wearing it. It's almost like it's been tainted.
I do, especially if, like...
Especially if she doesn't like her future mother-in-law.
She already kind of had beef, like...
Yeah.
This was, like, a point of contention when I was still dating my stupid ex-boyfriend. Like, his sister, like, did not like me. Like, hardly acknowledged my existence, barely ever spoke to me. And I told him that, like, it made me feel really weird. And he was like, oh, it's fine, like, she's with everybody. And I was just like, it was one of those things where I was just like, what if we do wind up getting married and she, like, expects to be in my bridal party or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, like, I wouldn't want that. Why are you not helping me, like, mitigate this now?
Yeah.
Because, like, that would have made me so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who, like, had wanted nothing to do with me suddenly being like, ooh, I get a pretty dress, right? And, like... So, yeah, if she already, like, had beef with her, like, future mother-in-law, and then this happened...
Yeah.
Yeah, when you put it like that, I do get it.
Yeah, because I imagine it's sort of like, there's a dress you saw at a store and you're like, I really want that dress. It's gonna look so good on me, but I gotta wait until I get paid or something.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see your enemy walking down the street wearing the same dress.
You're like,
It's like, well, nope, can't wear that.
not anymore.
Can't buy it now. Yeah, right? So it's like, yeah, it's maybe a little bit silly, but I feel like I would have trouble seeing that dress in the same way ever again, and knowing that, you know, she got to wear it, and really before I did in a way, you know?
Yeah, that would piss me off.
But then the other question is it worth blackmailing her for $30,000? But also, how's that blackmail? Like, why does this woman care so much that the family sees a picture of her wearing it?
Maybe they, like, know she's been weird about it, and are, like, kind of not on her side, being like, you know, it's just trying to diffuse the tension, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like, if she is afraid of her family seeing a picture of her wearing the dress, then she knows what she's doing is wrong if she thinks people are going to be upset.
Actually, yeah, you're so right.
It's like, if you really thought that this was fine and there was no big deal, then why would you care about somebody, you know, seeing that picture?
Yeah. You make an excellent point.
Yeah, so she acknowledges that there's something wrong with it, but does that rise to the level of blackmail?
Again, if this is part of a pattern, I'm going to say maybe.
Yeah, especially because thinking about it from the poster's perspective, right? Again, if she's working like months to get this $3,000 to get a dress, and now she feels like she can't wear that dress anymore.
Yeah, and also, like, in this economy?
Yeah, right? So, like, how is she going to buy a new dress unless she gets paid for it? Right?
Yeah, no, actually, I do get it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I was a little unsure. I'm pretty much entirely on OP's side now.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand her entire perspective, and I definitely understand her wanting money to buy a new dress. But then there's also the part of me that's like, you're stuck with this woman, you know?
That's why I'm kind of. This is why I'm kind of like, just throw the whole man out.
So, well, yeah, we'll get to that bit. I'm saving that for the update stuff.
Okay, wonderful.
But just in terms of the original question part of things, right? So, like, well, because we don't quite know yet. I mean, he does defend the mom a little bit in the original post, but so assuming that they are actually going to be married, you know, do you try to, like, I don't want to say, like, get over it, you know, but,
yeah,
like,
I understand,
you know,
like, do you really want to start it out with blackmail?
yeah, or is that the way to go here? Especially because it does turn out that he is kind of a mama's boy, and don't you want to have a good relationship with this woman who has such influence over him, potentially?
And that's my thing, where I'm like, would I even want to continue in this situation?
Yeah, I'm getting to that bit.
Like, that's really kind of all I have to say about that.
bit.
I can't see myself choosing to remain in a situation where, like, that's clearly going to be how it works.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about it from the perspective of, like, you're devoted to this person, you're definitely getting married, like, if that's the perspective,
Yeah.
what's more important, blackmailing this woman so you can buy a new dress, or trying to swallow your pride a little bit, make nice, wear the dress, maybe get it dry cleaned if that'll make you feel better.
Possibly, yeah.
You know, maybe do something to change it up a little bit, like add a little color to it, you know, something that makes it slightly different, right? Can you find a way to,
Yeah.
rather than going to blackmail, because I feel like there's no coming back from that. Not really, because even if you do make up, you know, it's always going to be there. Hey, remember when you tried to blackmail me?
And she's, like, already kind of made the threat. And so, like, that's a step in and of itself.
Yeah.
So, like, actually following through on that, like...
Yeah.
I used to have a history teacher who always said that you can't unring the bell, and I feel like that really applies here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but even in the original post with the fiance, the fact that he was essentially trying to keep his fiance from finding out that his mom was trying on, so he was, like, on his mom's side.
Although, here's the thing, like, what if you're one of those, like, to maybe give the fiance the benefit of the doubt, what if you're like, you know that your mom is fucking crazy, and you're like, maybe if this just happens and nobody finds out, like, you know, planning a wedding is already pretty stressful, and if his mom is constantly being like, hey, like, talk to your fiance, like, I want to try on the dress, like, maybe he's again, I'm probably giving a man too much credit here, but maybe he's thinking like, just if I just have 5 minutes where she's not there and this happens, and I can save myself hours of like nagging and questions about it until this wedding is over.
Mm-hmm. After this wedding's over, why can't he tell her to wait till after the wedding?
Yeah, actually, I take it all back. Never mind. I am no longer defending a man.
Well, because, like, you know he has to know how hard she worked for that dress.
Oh, 100%.
Right? And I just can't imagine, I mean, well, I guess we'll kind of segue into the update stuff here, but, like, I cannot imagine being in a relationship with a man who would know the amount of work and effort I put into getting this dress and then let his mother put it on.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Right?
Throw the whole man out.
Yeah, because, like, I just can't imagine. I feel like any guy that I like would be the type that'd be like, Mom, knock this shit off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, with all the update stuff, like,
yeah,
he's not worth it. If
right.
he's, like, capitulating to his mom that much, did they put the ages in here?
He's, nope.
Okay.
Yeah, he seemed to be more on the side of his mother than on the side of his fiance. I got distracted by a thing.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm gonna say throw the whole man out, and not the asshole, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah, I was also looking at so ending the conflict, he says he'll pay for her dress. So, man, I feel like every one of these conditions requires picking apart.
I know.
Right, like, hand him my phone so he can delete the photo himself.
Okay, so your fiance doesn't trust you.
Doesn't trust you to delete it on your own. Right,
so that I don't have
problem.
any copies to use against his mom later. Again, your fiance doesn't trust you.
Lack of trust, yeah.
Apologize to his mom.
So insinuating that he thinks you are the one in the wrong, not your mother.
Absolutely not. And then ask that I quit his family group chat and log out of Facebook for at least a month.
So permanently quit the family group chat because you're going to be part of the family.
Yeah.
And why log out of Facebook for at least... You can't connect to anybody on Facebook.
I feel as though there are some details that could potentially be missing here.
Yeah.
But like...
Oh, I'm sure like people are giving her shit in the family group chat. Probably.
Oh, probably. Yeah, so then if his entire family is probably going to be shit-talking you... No.
Yeah, and it doesn't say when the wedding is. She just says getting married soon. But, like, imagine if you were getting married within the next month and you're not allowed on Facebook to, like, post pictures and,
no,
you know.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I just...
Yeah, I like this info. Why are you still going through with the wedding? Return the dress and the fiancé.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the answer here is...
I think the answer is throw the whole man out.
Yeah, I think the answer here is this is a bit of a gift.
Yeah.
This is your chance. Run.
Run.
It's good to find out now that this is the kind of person he is rather than later.
I am going to go with the verdict of the public in this and say, not the asshole.
Yeah.
Run.
Yeah, and what's funny is, like, when I first read it, I wasn't sure if I agreed with the not the asshole, and
Like,
now
the
I'm
more
like,
that
firmly...
the more that I talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah. No, I totally get her perspective. I know that's his mother, but, like, if you're marrying a person, you're their person now.
Yeah.
You know? You have to come before them.
Because, like, you made it...
Especially...
Because, like, that's a voluntary... like, in most
Yeah.
cases. That is a voluntary choice.
Yes.
Like, you can't choose who your parents are, but, like, if
Yeah.
you're getting married to somebody, they had better be your number one, because you are you're involved in that.
Yeah.
You're choosing that.
They gotta be the priority, especially if your mother's the one being unreasonable.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's not like that was a need for her. It's not like she was gonna die. And again, could have waited till after the wedding.
Yeah.
Like, I don't... Because, yeah, when she's done with it, she's like, yeah, I'm done with it, whatever. Probably wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. I'd be like, yeah, I already wore it, got all the pictures in it, whatever. I sweated in it all day. You can...
Have fun.
Enjoy that. Right? Yeah, I definitely agree with the not the asshole on that one.
Absolutely not the asshole.
Yeah, and the ultimate one, like, answer is just the whole family, just chuck them all.
Yep.
Including the fiance.
Throw the whole man out. I think this is a segment that should perhaps not become an every episode thing, but should be a regular thing, because this was fun.
Yes.
I love getting involved in other people's business when I have no stake in it. I'm sure that probably makes me kind of a bad person, but oh well.
Yeah, I love Am I the Asshole post just so much.
I love other people's drama.
Yeah, and especially the pettier the better. Like there are no real stakes in this situation.
No, because like,
you know?
Here's the thing, and I want you to answer this honestly. Would you describe me as a petty person?
Sometimes.
And there we have it.
Uh-huh.
So like, it is in character. I know this about myself. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean those are the ones that are more fun. Like if you read one that's so serious, like somebody's dying, and it's like.
And also just like I'm 25, and not to say that my life has been an absolute cakewalk, but also like trauma-wise thus far, I've kind of been relatively unscathed by any like horrific events, like having like a parent or a sibling like die when I was really young or whatever. So like, what do I know in any of these situations? Like, any of these really serious situations where it's like, oh, should I forgive this person before they, like, pass away from a terminal illness? It's like, what do I know, bro?
But that sounds like the opposite of a fun thing to consider.
Yeah, it's like, one, it's not fun. Like, would I be the asshole if I didn't, like, forgive this person before they die or something? No, and also, like, what do I know?
I'm gonna judge if someone's the asshole for blackmailing the future mother-in-law with a picture of her wearing her wedding dress.
Or like doing like petty shit to their neighbors, who like petty shit to their like annoying neighbors who are like, oh, like I can see over your fence.
Yeah, well that's why I love Nextdoor. Nextdoor. But I remember reading one Am I the Asshole post years ago, where it was like about roommates in groceries.
Oh yeah.
I was just like wrecked, you know, like.
I feel like if you were to search Nextdoor in the Am I the Asshole Reddit, you could dig up some gold, and I think that is a thing that we should do in the very near future.
Oh, I have definitely Googled like best Nextdoor posts. Oh my god, it's so good. Cause like there is nothing.
Our next episode should just be all Nextdoor stuff.
There is nothing on that app that is remotely useful. Like. I mean, people will occasionally post something like, hey, I'm looking for a contractor, can anyone recommend me?
Yeah, or like if they're like having a garage sale or whatever, but like that's it. That's the only useful information that has ever been on Nextdoor.
But even in those cases, there are always people that comment that turn it into something political. Like, I don't know how they do it sometimes.
Yeah, it'll be like a post about like, oh, there's gonna be a garage sale on the corner of like, you know, 5th and Mason, whenever. And then then the comment thread is just a cesspool of racism.
Well, it'll be like, good luck selling anything in Biden's economy. Like, that's the kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then it just devolves into like a hot, like, again, just a hotbed of racism.
Yeah. I mean, just the number of, like, because I get emails when people post, and so I have all these emails just sitting in my inbox, and you can only see, like, the beginning of the first sentence of the post. And so then I have to like this one just says, my neighbor has decided to put an old couch sectional behind his house. Where is that going?
Are you mad about this?
Like, why does it matter if the couch is behind his house?
Yeah.
And I know the comments are just going to be spectacular.
Ain't that
like,
just the way?
I just have so many of those. Oh ho ho ho. And there's a lot of them about the punk kids. The Kia boys, you know.
Huh?
The roving gangs of teenage boys that steal Kias.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't even know this was a thing until this very second.
It's a TikTok thing. That's the second time that has happened.
Our For You pages are diverging because of my the extent of my ghost obsession.
No, I didn't. I haven't been on TikTok. I got this from like the news.
I also don't watch the news.
Somebody on TikTok It's Kia's and, oh my god, what's the other car brand? It's Kia's and Hyundai's, I think it is. I can't remember. There's two of them. But somebody posted on TikTok, like, how these are super easy to steal and showed people how to do it. So now they just keep stealing it.
That's kind of...
And the car manufacturers are like, oh yeah, we're gonna, like, figure out a way to fix this, and you can kind of bring in your cars and we can, you know, fix it. But they just keep getting stolen and destroyed left and right. They've tried everything. They put, like, clubs on the car, you know, the old school club that you put on the steering wheel. They found out ways around that. People are buying car boots.
Wow.
Like, it's gone to that level. Wow. Kind of TikTok showed people how to steal.
That's kind of fun.
Yes, there's a lot of posts about that.
I like it.
Store.
I mean, like, here's the thing. Don't steal people's cars. Don't be an asshole. However, of all of the chaos to cause, I'm gonna say this is, like, relatively minor.
I would say not, because a lot of times what they're doing with the cars is problematic.
Okay, so see, that's the part that's problematic. I think it's really funny if it becomes a meme of, like, you take somebody's Kia, you drive it around the block, and then you leave.
Yeah, like, park it somewhere else.
Yeah,
so
park
they
it
can't
somewhere
find
else.
Like, that would be kind of funny.
That's a little funny.
Yeah, but they're doing stuff like driving recklessly on highways.
Yeah, see, that is a
putting
terrible
people in danger.
Like,
Driving them into buildings so that they can, like, rob the buildings.
no, absolutely terrible idea. Like, I feel like any kind of chaos you're causing should be along the lines of the, like, I don't know another term from this, and this is probably horrendously outdated, but, like, the quote-unquote Chinese fire drill.
Mm-hmm.
Just, like, hold someone up at a stoplight a little bit. Like, of the public chaos you can cause,
Yeah.
like, keep it at that level.
Yeah.
Where it's, like, a little funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be frustrating for that person, and they probably wouldn't think it was funny at first, especially if they were, like, running late for work.
Like, mildly
But-
inconvenience someone at the worst.
Yeah, but even then, they would probably later on look back at it and think it was funny. Like the time in high school when some of my friends toilet papered my car, and then it rained.
Like, that is a little funny.
Well, but at the time, I was pissed.
Oh, and I'm sure you were.
Do you know how hard it is to get 4 rolls worth of wet toilet paper off of your car?
Pretty hard.
It takes a while. It just clings, and then it breaks up when you try to grab it. Yeah.
That is the
and
number.
Now it's funny.
That is the number one rule for pranks. If you are pranking somebody, don't be cruel, don't, like, abuse them. You want to confuse and mildly inconvenience them. Those are the cardinal rules of pranking somebody. Confuse them, mildly inconvenience them, and hopefully they will laugh about it later.
Yeah, well, in that case, I think they should have checked the weather, because they made me late for class, which made me very mad at the time. I was taking college classes.
Valid, however, I am going to say, I think that counts, that falls under the mildly inconvenience category. Because it's not like you miss a test or anything.
But not for me, because I walk in and everyone's just staring at me.
I mean, we've all been there.
I'm a high school student in a college class already, feeling like I'm being looked at, you know, and judged.
We've all been there. But yeah, those are my 2 rules. Because, like, I do love messing with people a little bit, but I don't like genuinely hurting people.
Yeah, I bet we can find some good next door posts.
So there's something to look forward to, which I think is going to bring us to the weekly worsening.
Yeah.
Which, man oh man.
Joint worsening this week.
Joint worsening. We got tattoos. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it from this distance, but I now have a little ghost cross behind my ear, which I love very, very much. I'm very happy with it. It's also my first tattoo. I did it. It was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Well, but I don't know if that's, like, not a particularly bad spot, maybe. If it didn't hurt that much, because...
I had heard online, they're like, oh, like, it vibrates your whole skull when it's, like, over the bone, which didn't really happen for me, and I don't know if it was just because of, like, the way my skull is shaped and, like, the placement of the tattoo. The only thing that, like, really kind of stung was when she started going over, like, the tendon in your neck.
Yep, you
like,
can always tell.
That I was like, ooh, like, that I was like, ow, that stings a little bit, but it really wasn't that bad. I was very nervous because I had never gotten a tattoo before, and, like, I assumed that I have a kind of high pain tolerance based on, like, just some things that have happened, but I wasn't sure, and I don't really know how you test that to be certain. I was like, Man, I hope this isn't how I find out that I'm actually a huge wuss. But it wasn't, so we have that.
Yeah, and you want to know that you got in the first one. Like, that's the hardest, because now you know, right?
Yeah,
And
although
now
I
that's
suppose
what's
if I was
scary.
to get, like, a giant rib piece with a ton of shading, that might be a little different.
Yeah. Places with less, like, fat cushioning. That's why, like, joints are supposed to be bad, because you don't really have fat around.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, like, bones and tendons. You would maybe have a bit more cushioning on the ribs, you know?
Yeah,
So
possibly.
it wouldn't be as, like, I bet the least painful spot is your butt.
Well, good, because I've talked about getting curvy tattooed on my butt cheek already.
Because that's a lot of cushioning, you know? Yeah.
That strikes me as one that I would, like, maybe fall asleep during.
Man, when I first got my ankle tattoo, I almost fell asleep, but that's because I was exhausted.
I love all those memes about, like, how, like, if your period pain is a 10, tattoos don't hurt, or, like, I've seen so many TikToks where it's, like, POV, you're a woman getting a tattoo, and it's just, like, some girl asleep as this person is tattooing her ribs, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's why, you know, so I got my tattoo, which we talked about this.
We are not showing it. I
know
will
if
put a picture.
Yeah, I don't
because
wanna
we
put my feet
don't
on the
want
internet.
feet on the internet.
So I'm not going to hold up my foot right now. But I got a running
Although,
tattoo.
how funny will it be if I look back and your foot has actually been in frame from when you crossed your legs?
I'm pretty sure it was at one point, because yeah, I had my ankle like up on my leg, and I was like, oh yeah, my foot's like this high up, it's got to be on the camera.
So maybe we've already screwed up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that happened, but
I'll put a close up.
that doesn't
right
mean I
here.
have to, yeah.
Doesn't mean we have to flaunt it.
Yeah. So I got my running tattoo on the inside of my left ankle, and the cherry blossom tattoo that I had on the outside of my right ankle that I only got like April 1st, I think it was, something like that, was already fading, and so she just basically traced back over the whole thing, right? So at this point, pretty much a fresh tattoo. And I think it was, yeah, when she was doing the first one, that I'm just kind of, you know, sitting there, hanging out, looking at things, and she's like, are you in, like, unbelievable pain right now? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, what am I gonna do, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I paid for this.
Yeah. You know,
I'm paying for you to hurt me.
Yeah, it's just gonna keep going. What do you want me to do? Be like, ow, 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 ow. You know, like,
Yeah. I'm like,
yes, this hurts a lot, thank you.
I kind of just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a point where I was just like, well,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm paying for this.
Yep.
So I kind of just have to sit here and
Yeah.
take it.
I mean, it hurts, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Right?
nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing. So, you know, you just sit there and, you know, I'm looking at all the art on the wall. I'm like, yeah, man, ouch. And that's one of the ways I think men and women might differ.
Yeah.
You know, because of that pain tolerance.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine so many guys being like
Although, I mean,
wincing.
again, that,
Not
but
all,
also
of
there's so
course.
many dudes where it's just like, they're covered. I feel like at that
Yeah.
point you just gotta be like, whatever, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, it depends on where you get them.
Depends on where you
There's
get
a
it. It
big
also just
difference.
depends on you as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, because even like all this stuff, there's so much more cushioning, muscle and fat, and, you know.
And it like also kind of like depends on what you're getting.
Mm.
Like if there's like a ton of like shading
Yeah.
versus like what I got, it's just like a couple lines, you're done.
Yeah.
But again, I'm no expert. I have one single black line tattoo.
Yeah, nor am I, just because I have 3. They're not exactly complicated ones either. Well,
Ain't that just
sort of my cherry blossom one. There's a lot of shading in the original one.
ripped the original one?
It's still in there. I was thinking about that
Technically.
in the shower earlier. I was like, I still have it. It's just covered with more ink now.
Yeah.
It's just layers of ink in my skin. It's fine.
And I am worse because we are recording this on. It's in 2 days. It's in 2 days. It's in
What
two-
is?
It's in 2 days. The ghost ritual is in 2 days. I've never been more insane in my life.
I didn't know it was coming up. That's great.
Would you like to describe to anybody just like the hell that you have been experiencing hanging out with me this close to something that I am this feral about?
I mean, to describe the last couple of days, so a lot of hearing ghost music. I don't think there's, oh no, I was gonna say I don't think there's ever been a moment where you haven't been wearing ghost stuff, but you didn't wear ghost to bed last night.
No, I didn't.
You had Jenny stuff on. I assume that probably the black lipstick and the contact are in anticipation, right?
I mean, yes, but I also,
dressed
again,
up.
just like dressing in ways that make
Yeah.
people stare at me.
But also working on all your little projects to put in the gift bag to give to the band. And how many pages was that letter you wrote today?
4.
4 pages, handwritten.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although I didn't write on the back of the pages because they was
okay.
gonna bleed through. So, like,
Yeah,
there's
makes sense.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, like, maybe makes it marginally more normal, but by how much?
You've also shown me many memes.
Lots of explaining those memes.
Well, I mean, at least, like, at this point I've heard you talk about certain things so many times that when you mention, like, the names of the ghouls, I just know what you're talking about. Like...
I've won.
Like, you were talking about Mountain and Aurora earlier, and I'm like, well, I know who those two are, because you've talked about them before.
Being friends with me is its own form of hell.
And what's nice is... Nice isn't the right word. Interesting is... that I do not listen to them. I've only ever heard them when you have been playing them, and yet I know a lot of the words to a lot of the songs, and I can name so many of the nameless ghouls.
I'm sorry.
And even names of the songs, because you just played Square Hammer in the car, and now that's stuck in my head.
I mean, that's not a particularly complicated name. If you could name the second track on Infestisumam from memory right now, I would be, like, scared.
Well, no, because I haven't listened to a whole album, like, beginning to end to know the order of songs or anything.
Well then, fuck, there's no way I can hint to you this name because you wouldn't know it anyway. But, like, if you, like, knew, like, Pera Spera ad Inferi off the top of your head, then I'd be afraid of, like, what I had done.
Yeah. No, but I mean, the fact that I don't listen to them, but I can sing along to some of their songs that I liked.
Okay, well, the Mariana Cross thing isn't surprising.
Yeah.
Because that was everywhere.
But not for me.
Have we gone over that? I didn't know that didn't, like, show up, but I thought that was, like, everybody.
No.
Because that's why they kind of blew up.
No.
Huh.
Only ever heard it from you. And you know what, for the longest time at first, because I hadn't paid close attention to it, I thought it was a song about somebody named Mariana.
No, nice.
Yeah. Until I saw the name of the song once, and I was like, oh, Mary-on-a.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah.
That's been the experience.
I make my friends suffer. And I don't even try to, is the worst part.
I think you should be proud that I have not talked nonstop about Ragnar.
I want you to, though. I don't want to feel like I am just being super annoying to you and then not, like, giving you the same courtesy of letting you, like, just hyperfixate and info dump at me.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because I'm so tired and everything from Ragnar, but yeah. And then I have another one coming up in 3.5 weeks, and so I've been, like, all day looking up, like, tents and warmer sleeping bags.
I'm like kind of begging you to info dump at me so I stop feeling guilty.
Bought a new pair of trail running shoes today, so I'm getting worse because I'm getting deeper into that, you know, like, I'm just gonna be doing this all the time now.
Are you gonna become one of those people who, like, tries to do one in, like, every state?
Well, there's 28 total Ragnars.
Oh, so are you gonna be one of the people who tries to do every single one?
That would be very expensive. It would be nice. I'm gonna try to do as many as I can. Because, you know, they're all over the country.
Well, I mean, yeah, like, I would, like, not, like, in a year, like, over the course of your lifetime.
Yeah. I'd like to do Trail Zion. That's the original one. And it's at, like, the Ponderosa Resort in Utah. And it's, like, an actual resort. Yeah, so I'd like to do as many of them as I can, and then, you know, eventually get my Ragnar tattoo.
Hell yeah. We become worse every day.
Constantly. I did tell you the story about almost getting bitten by a rattlesnake.
Yeah, that
What
was
is that one?
I was gonna say kind of fun, but, like, no, it wasn't.
You know, it was a weird thing because, you know, obviously terrified because it could have killed me. But at the same time, I was like, oh my god, a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I've never seen one just in wild like that. Probably seen one in a zoo at some point. Like,
Probably.
no specific memory.
That
but
is kind of nuts, though, actually.
yeah.
I don't,
To have actually seen one in person. The part of I was like, man, I wish you were deadly. I would like to look at you closer.
I'm trying to think. I've probably seen one at a zoo when I was like a little kid, but I haven't been to a zoo since I was a little kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think the last time I went to a zoo I was like 8.
Huh. I go to zoos all the time. We have a little zoo in Rochester, Seneca Park. Could visit that. It's a fun little day trip.
Oh my god, hell
Not
yeah.
a day trip, it's like 20 minutes away.
No, but I want to do that. That sounds like a fun afternoon.
They do, every year, in the summer, they just had it a few weeks ago, they do a 5K race that goes through the zoo called the Jungle Jog.
What?
Yeah.
That's so fun.
The people that run it get free admission to the zoo that day, so that's why I hung out there, like, and just, I'd like to watch the, like, the otters, you know?
Oh.
And, what's the other one? They're like a similar thing. They got the fins.
Seals. Sea lions.
Sea lions, that's it. I was like a sea something. Yeah. I spent a lot of time watching them. That was a good time.
That sounds so fun. Now I want to do that.
Yeah. I do love a good zoo. And Reptiworld. I was just at Reptiworld, and that's technically
Which I also
zoo.
want to go to. That sounds like a great time.
The burbs! We're just gonna hang out with those burbs. I mean, it's like a 2.5-hour drive, but, you know, worth it. Or we could go 2.5 hours the other way to Toronto, so there's options.
Yeah, man, I think the last time I went to the zoo was probably when my family still used to go down to Florida. Man, it's been a while.
I went to the San Diego Zoo several years ago. It's a nice zoo.
Oh, I believe it.
Damn, big zoo.
Wow, it has been a hot minute. Yeah, so I don't, like, I can't even, like, yeah, maybe I saw a rattlesnake in a zoo at some point.
Yeah, I have no specific memory. And honestly, I was just at Reptiworld. What was that, like 3 weeks ago? I can't remember if there was a rattlesnake there or not. There were a lot of snakes I looked at. There might have been one.
It's possible. Huh. Yeah.
But, you know, just saw one a few days ago, so.
Again, as dangerous as that sounds, I feel like that's also probably, like, kind of cool.
I know.
I want to see the little...
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah.
And I heard it, and that sound haunts me now.
Which, like, again, so valid, but also, it's kind of cool.
Because even if I had seen one in a zoo, I wouldn't have heard it rattle, you know, it'd just be hanging out there. So I've only ever heard the rattling on TV, so hearing it, like, you know, this close to me.
See, now as soon as we're done, I'm gonna Google it. The wonders of the internet.
I'm pretty sure it was a timber rattlesnake, because I tried to look up pictures. I mean, obviously I didn't get to look at it for an extended time, but that's the closest I could find that are native to that area.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, fresh off of a near-death experience.
Yeah. I said something about being 1 foot from death, and somebody on the team was like, oh, that could be our team name next year.
That's kind of
1
fun.
foot from death.
I kind of like that. I think you should go with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was either that or because bagels. That's
Either
it.
one.
Just because bagels.
And, you know, next year you can report back to us what it is. Alright, I think that's going to bring us to the end for today. As always, thank you for fighting with us, friends. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and we'll be back again next week, probably to talk about Next Door. Yeah. Adios. This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly and Dr. Sarah Brooks. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. Follow us on Twitter at BridgetKelly98 and at AndSarahSaid. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice. Like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch and Facebook, and join our Discord community using the links in the description. You can also help support us via the Acast supporter feature, or consider donating to our Patreon for early access to episodes and fun bonus content. Thanks for listening!